I'd like to share a story about an early lesson I learned about our integrity core value. On one of my first assignments, I was assigned to a rather large project for those days. And of course, I was the most junior person on the project, having only been on a project or two before that. So after having been on the job for just about 2 days, the project manager comes up to me and asks if I'll go see the director of systems operations at the client. And I'd only been there for 2 days, but I'd already heard about this guy. I'd heard that he was very difficult to get along with, that he's very demanding, very gruff, and to top it all off, he really didn't like consultants. But so I, with much fear and trepidation, went over to see him, and it turned out he wanted me to go ahead and help him make a change to one of his production programs he needed to get into production that night. It was a fairly minor change, and it was in a language I had just had some experience with, and he didn't really have that experience in his shop. So that's why he asked me to do it. So I went away, took the program, and the change was fairly simple. So I knew it was important, so I checked it over like 15 times just to make sure I did it right. And then I handed it off to the production control people to put it into that night's production run. Now that was a new thing for me. I'd never had an experience with such a large data shop, and I really didn't know what a production control person was. So I had to have faith that things would go all right after that. Anyway, then it was time to go home, and I came back the next morning, and I found the director was waiting for me at my desk, and he was not looking happy. As it turned out, what happened was there was something wrong with the program or the way it was run, and it brought down their whole computer system that night. And since he was the director of production control, he had to come in and get it fixed in the middle of the night. So he was definitely not happy. I'll never forget his question to me was, "Who the hell is responsible for this?" And I thought about it, and I really couldn't understand what went wrong, because I knew it was a simple change. I knew I'd checked the program over so many times. So the only thing I could think of is maybe it was those production control people. They must have done something wrong, run it wrongly somehow. And I was about to say that, and then I thought to myself, this is something he gave to me he trusted me with to get done. So how can I really blame it? And I don't even really know what happened. So what I said instead was, I guess that would be me, sir. I'm responsible. And at that point, I was pretty much just waiting for the axe to fall. I figured the next thing that was going to happen, he's going to kick me off the project. And the next thing that would happen after that is I'd be fired. And he let me sweat a little bit for a few seconds. And then he said to me, "David, you're the first consultant that I've ever met who took personal accountability for anything that went wrong." And then he smiled, and then he said, "Let's go get this fixed." And it was such an eye-opening experience for me, because that led to a relationship that lasted the next 3 years as we continued to do more and more work for that client in his area. And he and I became fast friends. Had a great relationship. I went on to lead 1 or 2 of the projects that resulted, and it was a great experience. So I guess the lesson learned from that is integrity has a lot of different dimensions, but one important dimension of it is inspiring trust in people by taking accountability for your own actions. And it's really a lesson I learned early in my career, and I really try to take it to heart.